Israel assault, Egypt defend. The Israelis and Egyptians had a rematch for the key route in the Sinai. Israel Adams Infantry Brigade and Natke nearest Tank Battalion slugged it out with the Egyptian 39th Infantry Battalion at Abu Aghelia. So yeah, we've had an Abu Aghelia mission before. Now it's a rematch. 10 years later, more or less. Yep, quite a bit more than that. Storm at Abu Aghelia. Again, Israel, 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 Israel. This is a tank action though, and I don't think I've played with an Israeli tank. The previous tank mission I played uh, with Israel was we playing against Israel, and we won that. So let's see if it goes the other way around. I specifically like the Israeli and assault guns they had, or tank destroyers. I'm not quite sure which they are technically. Do we have any? Seems like we have Shermans. They aren't bad, but ooh, they have a bigger gun than what I've seen previously. High explosive anti-tank ammunition 40. They're not gonna run out. Usually you have something like 8. Holy shit. Anti-tank jeeps. 20 heat ammunition. Oh, they can run out, but what is that? Recoilless rifle, I think. Okay, uh this is a Israeli tank. Might have some similarities with American tanks, but I think this is a genuine Israeli design. It has a good gun, sabot and heat ammunition. These 25 in total, good range. So this can fire accurately at around 50 hexes. So that's a pretty drastic increase over what we've seen so far in the World War II gear. Like they have a good range of maybe half that, 30 maybe with the assault guns. Smoke ammo 4 SD1. I have no idea what that means. And experienced veteran tanks with armor on the front, very good compared to what we've seen usually. Yeah, this is gonna be ugly for the opposition. 15 turns. We're not gonna need 15 turns. Auto-mapped artillery. Right. I don't think we should really move the tanks all that much. We need something to just reveal targets. The tanks can basically shoot at this distance fairly reliably. Same time, the tank group here is much weaker than the tank group there. Right, the range is pretty much half of theirs. The gun is not nearly as big, armoring is piss poor. So if we're going to fire artillery with something, it's probably with this group. Not that there are that many targets to shoot at. Okay. think we are better off just sending the infantry forward, having the tanks react to whatever happens come our way. Infantry is going to be better at spotting things. If we lose a squad or two, it doesn't really matter. We only have a handful of tanks here, so even a couple of tanks lost could be a big deal. 15 turns also gives us a decent amount of time. We are in no particular hurry. A good long-range attacks. So the infantry would be very capable of suppressing other infantry at this point. Veteran crews on the tanks. So even though they aren't exactly amazingly good, they're still fairly good. Two platoons of tanks. 7 in total. I think we should keep moving with the infantry, just not rush in there blindly. We're here to support the infantry as well. Other tank group can take a more aggressive role if we need to. What's the range on the recoilless rifle? It's actually longer than the tank accuracy. So they probably don't have to move so close to the action. Paratroopers are not going to be able to fight off that many infantry squads. Okay, I think we're going to move the tanks fairly significantly here. I want a little bit of a higher ground. At the edges of this little hill here, so we can, or in this, so we can overlook the entire battlefield. These guys have the range to pull that off. I guess we can be a little bit more cautious with some of the tanks. But I want to be in a position to offer support for the group coming in from the east. This group will win its own tank engagement. I'm pretty sure about that. Seems like a decent upgrade to all tanks we've seen so far, so. Command unit, we're still far away from the action, so don't need to hold back on moving the command units. We see someone. Infantry squad. Probably should start shooting with someone who's not close by. If there's a return fire, it won't be so devastating. Or when there's return fire, rather. And if we're lucky, we might reveal other units. We're gonna go for full destruction of the squad if we can go there. There has to be other targets here. $21 for on that, so it's probably around 20-25 to hit the targets in that little town. Definitely within our range already. I'm thinking of leaving the recoilless jeeps somewhere here. They're very vulnerable to enemy fire, so there's no point trying to push them incredibly close to the enemy position. They'll also fairly... Okay, what is our range? 20? That's range 60. Tanks and infantry first. Jeeps will provide support. Go in if necessary to try to get kills. We've been rushing the tanks a little bit. They're getting low on shots, so we should be a bit careful. We could get into a fairly serious tank battle at any moment. Thinking of leaving one platoon static for a turn at least. They'll be in a good position to do return fire, and with their accuracy and experience, that return fire should be very clean. Spotting more enemies at least. A mortar. Did not expect that. We destroyed most of our targets. Okay. We are in ready combat condition, so we should be able to spot even dogging the enemies fairly easily. We have no suppression again, so we should... Heavy suppression... I'm not sure if the suppression itself makes it harder for you to detect things, but the status changes certainly will. In the button, retreating, routed, so forth. Routed enemies aren't gonna be bothering looking around for extra enemies. They should be getting very close to the enemy. Right? A bunker. That's not nice. I was not expecting bunkers, so I'm not sure why not. These don't look like they're gonna get back into action, so I'll let them go for now. Mainly because I'm expecting this to be a battle line of dug-in troops, so I don't want to waste my shots. Ho 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 ho's! 14%. Well, that was a short fight, wasn't it? I think I'll leave the tanks unmoved for now. Deal with all the infantry first. have to use the roads, otherwise we'll never reach the target. Right. Try to go for this hill. Visibility on this should be fantastic. So once we get more or less to the center, we should be able to see the entire battlefield. What do you see? I think I'll leave one of the platoons here. We're gonna move a little bit, but not that much, and we're gonna stay there for the foreseeable future. Okay, and the paratroopers are responsible for taking this village. However, we have such a huge amount of tanks that they have to have something big too, otherwise it makes very little sense. Not sure if I want to even bother shooting at the mortar. I think it's more of a waste of shots than anything else. And we were not supposed to move the jeeps, but I guess since we're moving them, we'll move them once more. No one's shooting. Well, on the other hand, they shot like twice, and we're in fairly good condition, so not sure what exactly they achieved. Make sure the target 7. No. Why the fuck are you shooting at the mortar? You have an infantry squad right in front of your face. 9. Surely there's shorter distance. 8. Needs to be more enemies spotted. This cannot be it. I know I tend to be paranoid sometimes about these things, but I have a massive force. What I'm seeing is basically pitiful number of enemy infantry. It just does not make sense to me. Okay, there might be a minefield here. Great. Well, they're not coming back. I'm waiting for some kind of big surprise to come our way, and it doesn't seem to be arriving. I spot someone new. Did I though? Yeah, but we were all already aware of it. How far are we from the targets? 12, 23. Holy shit, you see someone. Okay, you see the mortar on the other side of the goddamn thing. Right, now we have the better tanks able to support the eastern group too. But yeah, definitely within comfortable striking distance too. So if there's a sudden influx of tanks from somewhere, we should be able to take them on. I think I'll leave these guys here. Although it's not like they can really shoot at the important parts at the center of town, so that's no good either. But until we have infantry closer, I'm actually more comfortable with leaving them here. We're more or less moving closer to the flags in general, we just are not pushing for any specific target all that hard. Point being, we're not really wasting our turns. If the urgency comes to go for the flags, we're still closer to taking them. So we can make progress. We just need to make the decision to drive for the objectives. There we go, something new. Yeah, with a mistake to fire with that group. I knew it was a mistake before I fired. Still did it though. There's artillery coming to this location, so all infantry at the very least should run out. Mines! No! Didn't really make much of a difference though. The unit was mostly worthless anyway, but now it's in a decent location to fire on enemy targets still. Routed. Good enough. Good enough because we know that there's more there. Want the tanks. Still waiting for the inevitable tank platoons to appear on the map. Okay. Gotta leave the jeeps here for now. Still firing at the town. Please, something happen. Minor infantry engagement. This is pointless. they can successfully disrupt one of my infantry squads, but there's a dozen coming in. So this is the only turn they get to do anything. Artillery is the biggest worry I have at this point. If I'd have to take a wild guess, I think the southern edge here could have something. Like tank platans dug in. So the moment you start to take flags, they'll start to try to push to your flanks. Just a guess though. Only T-34s. T-34s would not have been great matches for the shittier tanks we have in this mission. They are not a match for the Ben Gurions. I even see them though. Right, their positioning is what's saving them. Right, this is what I was sort of afraid of. Because of our weird positioning, we can't actually fire on any of these targets. Not gonna fire now. But this is more or less what we wanted. Can you fire on it? You can fire on everything we don't need to fire on. It's fine, I guess. We want to move it a little bit forward though. Just to get closer to targets. Right. I think the paratroopers are going to get annihilated if I don't try to cover their asses a little bit. I mean, they don't have to see the T-34s, that's entirely pointless. And putting a little bit of smoke here also, I don't see how it would really be a negative to us. Can't see anything interesting. Okay. That's a lot of mines. I don't think we have engineers, so we more or less have to just plow through the minefields. I have no idea if these have any kind of talent in disarming mines. Engineers have to be more or less just ready and waiting, and they'll disarm the nearby mines. As many as they can. It'll still take time. Mr. Bunker, right. Guess it doesn't realize it's been found out, so it's still not firing. So that's probably retreating at least. Route. Right. So there's no chance they can really do anything anymore. This just isn't that... I mean, if they don't have some kind of magic rabbit that they can pull out of their ass, this isn't really a fight. This is me walking over a fairly lackluster enemy. And while that can be slightly amusing, it's not slightly amusing after I've played a dozen of these missions. So it's just dull. So please throw something at me that I might have to take seriously. What is a B10 recoilless anyway? 82mm. Not really threat to the infantry. They could have additional squads here, so I'm not sure how much more should I fire. There's probably a target that's in a much better position to open fire on that. I sort of want to see what the jeeps can do, for example. They have high explosive anti-tank ammunition, but what exactly does it mean? Accuracy is piece 4, 8% only. Surely we can do better. Not really. Yeah, there's a little bit left to be desired as far as accuracy is concerned. The moment I moved, it made it pretty much impossible for me to do anything. I think the jeeps might have a better gun for this type of job. These guys are fairly inaccurate, but the gun itself isn't all that powerful. Right. Not seeing anything too interesting. We're not gonna drive into the minefields with these. Ah, the jeeps. We are within striking distance of a lot of weaponry that can destroy us easily if we go closer, so I'm holding the jeeps back. There might be a couple of tanks we can move, but I think this is more or less it. Right, where's the artillery going? Final time we're shooting here. Not sure if there's much of a point in blasting these buildings either, because even if they get destroyed, it's a hindrance for me rather than the enemy. Now they're revealing themselves. I wish the squads closer by would actually react something up. Still, it's another turn they'll get to cause casualties, then it's all over again. D-34 speak. There's probably more of them. Still, welcome to your doom. Yeah, it's pretty reliable on the hitting front. Accuracy is 40%. They probably have less than 10% when they start shooting, and it'll climb up with every shot I'll take. So 40. Still 40. Well, it's still dead. I'm not sure how realistic this is. I mean, as far as technology is concerned, and difference between tank capabilities, but you don't really have to be a huge expert on things to see that. Quite often I hear politicians, especially because of spending, complain about the need to not upgrade your weapons tech to the latest. And you certainly understand it because they're ridiculously expensive. But at the same time, if you intend to use them to defend your nation, you pretty much have the top of the line gear. It doesn't have to be the best possible, but you have to have in the same ballpark at least. If you are a tech generation behind the enemy, you're so fucked. It's not impossible to probably fight against these tanks, but we can now, with T-34s, you would have to force pretty much to close range, point blank type of a tank battle to have any kind of a hope to pull a victory out of that, or have another strength like an overwhelming air force, so the tanks wouldn't matter in that sense. But even one generation fresher or newer tanks versus T-34s, and they're basically worthless. I mean, you might get four or five of them at the same cost. You can get one of the more modern ones, but you're still going to buy just multiple core tank corpses. You're not buying competitive equipment. Are we getting bombardments anywhere? Yes, here, which is actually I don't like that. It's creating smoke more than anything else. So we'll leave the tank sections, I mean artillery sections fire counter fire, I guess, to the enemy artillery. Yeah, these guys are not doing anything to the minefield. So I think we're going to have to go around it with everything. We're just risking casualties for no particular gain if we try to force our way through. Still, the mines are pretty much everywhere, so I'm not sure how reasonable this is either. Still, we're not getting rid of them, so either walk into minefields or go around. And I'll go in. Again, we're not in that big of a hurry, but at the same time, I think we are gonna need to take capture some flags soon. Otherwise, they're going to be able to play the delaying game, shooting at us a little bit here and there. Ooh, there's a lot of infantry in full readiness. Didn't notice that. They probably fired so much that they can't react to my presence anyway. Is that a bunker? It is a bunker. think this is pretty much the first time we're starting to see more modern assault rifles too. They have we have seen a certain type of automatic rifles before, but now we're seeing long distance, high accuracy, and high rate of fire. So if an infantry unit gets to fire at another infantry unit, even remotely as close range, now it doesn't have to be the next X or anything, they'll more or less wipe them out. There's no coming back from that anymore. Reasonable engagement ranges have grown somewhat. We're suddenly routed. Another bunker. I don't want to waste my shots at them. Want to reveal more or oh, more bunkers? Ooh, soldiers! Ah, I should not have done that. It's very risky. Any kind of return fire at that distance and I would have been wiped out. While I can barely do a casualty or two if they're dug in. Worked for us, but still very risky thing to do. What is not a smart thing. I'm shooting at people who are retreating instead of being routed. They can reasonably shoot at us. Could shoot at some of the bunkers. That's within reasonable distance. Retreating recoilless, pinned infantry. We have an effective range of 4. Yeah. I mean, we can shoot further, but it's very much suppression fire we're doing at that distance. Casualties are not to be expected, at least not heavy ones. Okay, the bunker is still a problem. It needs to be dealt with right now. It's fairly close to some of the infantry, but there aren't that many units that can respond to that. Probably these tanks. Not sure we should be firing at it though. I'm gonna take a pot shot at it. It's not gonna go down, but we're basically taking it as a target. We'll be very much more accurate on the next turn. Still, you. This is the command squad. It's the only one who's really at risk of the bunker. I'm not sure why the hell would I risk it. What? You don't have smoke. You certainly do have smoke. So smoke. Can you shoot the bunker? Probably not anymore. Excellent. So your life is safe. Okay, the Gurions. Are we going to shoot something with them? Has to be a vehicle or a structure, otherwise I'm not going to bother. We have a reasonable chance of destroying that actually. Well, how is it taking these hits? Doesn't give a shit. Can I shoot at other targets? The bunker doesn't have to be destroyed right now. I think I'll not do anything. These 3 tanks are a different matter. There's a good chance there are more tanks holding their position. Let's see what happens. We need to take a flag in the next turn or two. That's an Egyptian HQ firing at us, so that'll go down on next turn. Suppression fire on earthen bunker. Shooting at the bunker from the front would be much more effective. Right, we're revealing a lot of infantry in the western town. It's another weird situation with the predetermined retreat path, so we basically retreated toward the enemy town positions and we got wiped out. Doesn't make any logical sense, but that's what happened. I think I'm going to order as much artillery on the town as possible. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any kind of a huge amount of tanks there or anything. So we might as well just bombard the shit out of it. Also, we lost one of our squad leaders, which is no good. Can't really see a good target to shoot at though. Right, just let it all go. bunker has to go now. Can't see it though. What else can we do? Infantry, we're far away from any real action. We might be able to put a little suppression or something. I think this is not the time to really save your shots. We're a bit too far away from the action though. Can't shoot anymore. Why? I don't see a reason. I certainly have the ammunition. Because of reasons. It's the weapon we're using to shoot doesn't have any more shots for this turn. I'm shooting at a recoilless. Is that really that big of a threat? Yeah, this is probably the last defense line they have on this side. They fired so many times, I don't think they are in any position to do reasonable reaction fire. We're gonna push as hard as we can. Yep. They have also suffered some kind of morale collapse because they're not in a position to do much. I mean, a couple of shots and they're basically silenced. What else? I'm pretty sure I saw an HQ unit fire at us. Yeah, there it is. HQ destroyed. It was mixed in with the other infantry squad. So that's gonna be a catastrophic morale collapse. Which is fine. Not that big of a deal though. Ooh, they have a unit back there, right. Want to spot more units. Also, please don't fire on the earthen bunker. Cannot shoot at us. It's doing the action fire though. Okay, someone has to be able to take that out. It's becoming a huge nuisance to us. Front armor is weak, right? There's massive back armor. It has a decent amount of machine gun firepower, but that's it. It cannot threaten a full tank. It can do suppression fire, lots of it. Not sure if I can take it out now, but I can take it down the next turn. Also, if I can, it's possible to take out from the rear, but it's a bit more tricky though. I'm just making sure that it won't survive the next turn. Yeah, it's taking serious damage this direction. From the back, it might not, but it does not have any strong or frontal armor. Movement. Hmm. I don't think we're in any threat here. Still, a lot of the enemies I see are just retreating, which is not good enough. So we can have massive casualties on their turn. Who knows? Retreating, retreating, retreating. Yeah, I'm not seeing all that much routing going on. This is no good. Take a flag. I'm somewhat curious about the reaction. Taking off the flag itself is not important. Right. Probably shouldn't be driving in the tanks first, but... no buts. I'm not driving in the tanks. See if we can get rid of the mortars then. Well, we probably successfully suppressed it. And immobilized. Yeah, let the infantry go in first. What to do here? This is a bit of a more tricky situation. I think there's artillery coming in too, so I don't want to push forward too hard. We at the very least have to shoot at the recoilless to suppress it. Ooh, and there's an infantry squad too. The problem here is that they have a huge range advantage. Right, we're more or less just firing for the sake of firing. Oh, good shot. See, 11 targets. No, 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 no. I need to see the artillery coming in, and it's definitely coming in. Excellent. So that might change things a little bit. Earthen bunker, that's what you're still shooting at? Oh, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, I'm moving closer to finish this. The paratroopers need some kind of a better support. And these tanks can certainly offer help here if it's needed. And didn't spot anything new. No. Ooh, we are disarming traps now. More Egyptians. Ooh, close range mortar fire. Okay, mortars have to be destroyed on this turn. Yeah. The big problem we have is the paratroopers. The thing is, they're the only problem we really have. Everything else is more or less decided, unless they have, again, some kind of miracle that they can pull out. I've seen no indication of that. Ooh, there we go. Tanks. They're on the center flags, the tanks. Yeah. Hey, yeah, they're showing their rear and flanks to our base tanks. So good luck with that. Earthen bunker has to go. Need to clean up the enemy infantry this time. Disable the mortars. I have no idea how powerful a mortar shell is compared to if you fire at a tank, for example. I don't think it's enough to destroy it. Because that's not how it works. They're usually they're not designed to hit where the shell hits. They're designed to shrapnel around. So it's more of a high explosive anti-infantry light targets. It depends on the shell naturally. But that's I guess that's the typical shell we're seeing here. But that they can still suppress and they can still take out jeeps, and they're very effective, very likely against infantry. So we'll have to do something about that. Right, you have to go. Can't kill a mortar. Well, they're worthless, they're both routed, so they're not going to be shooting at anything. I guess that's good enough for now. Pinned. That means if I go next to it, it'll slaughter us. But if we can get something to suppress it a little bit, we can use this to wipe it out. Same with the infantry. Nice. Right, the eastern battle is pretty much over at this point. Just cleaning up the trash at this point. I think I'll stay here and stare at the south. I'm still paranoid about that. You don't spot dug-in tanks from a long distance. And they would be pretty much coming at from the worst possible angle if they come from the south. Now we're starting to suppress an earthen bunker that can shoot at us. Man. Recoil squad. Didn't notice you there. Okay, they have nothing. We got a little bit of a bloody nose and a couple of infantry squads, but I think we're still mostly doing just fine. Hopefully I can spot more of the tanks. Yeah, they're just showing their ass at our best tanks. They're gonna be wiped out. Might as well actually start with this. I don't want them react firing on anything else. Yeah, they're so boned. We'll fire at the furthest away so the smoke doesn't block our firing path. Terrible shots now. We can still disable all of them even if I can't get a kill shots. I'm not particularly worried. Yeah, it's rotted, and I think I got a shot to go in, so it's cannot operate at full efficiency anyway. I think we were seeing the Yeah, first tanks to start move. Anything we want to wipe out, anything we need to wipe out. A lot of things are routed, or I think they're pretty much routed. No retreats or anything, just out of the fight. I'll save the shots because clearly there are additional tanks here still available coming after us. We'll give them a chance to react. Mortar destroy. I think we want to keep the jeeps firmly hidden from the tanks. Alright, what do we do with these? It's right outside our effective range. The artillery is landing here, so that might help a little bit, but I don't think it'll make a big difference. It's up to these tanks to get something done. I think we're best just waiting for another turn, then the tanks can come in and provide the fire support with the infantry needs to get the job done. There, that's the job done. Just something that they can't immediately shoot at us. Still, we're gonna lose the cover. Ah shit, this is gonna be bad. Yeah. Why didn't I just wait? I don't want to put more smoke in here, but I need to suppress that thing somehow. Doesn't have to get really any casualties either, just clean the fucker a little bit. It's not good. I was sort of hoping it might pop a smoke there, but I guess that's not really what we want anyway. More suppression, just enough that we don't need to kill a goddamn thing. We need to prevent them from slaughtering us on the open ground here. Could have just waited the one turn, but no. What to do with the rest of the tanks? I suppose we can destroy that. Maybe approach these at another angle. Yeah, let's save their assets. Now it's profit. Okay, I think we're gonna spread the tanks about a little bit, so we have a very different lines of fire to choose from when we give support. I think this mission is over, and it's so far it's been a big disappointment. I was expecting like a gigantic army waiting for us, and this might have been something of a trouble for us if if it would have lasted half of what it will last. But since it doesn't, it's well, there's not much to be said at that point. They're in a totally hopeless position and they never had a chance. The only reason I'm not rushing in is I don't want to deal with a huge amount of casualties. Hello, my friends. Rotate. Right. That should be pretty much the end of any resistance they might be still putting up. Any bombardment coming in? Probably should stop that at this point. Not seeing anything interesting. Right, they're mostly routed. There's not really any effort to try to stop the retreat at this point. Just gonna pile in there as tight as possible. It's a bit risky, but again, I'm assuming there is no real risk anymore. I waited long enough for their secret army to suddenly appear, and it's not coming. So I'm just rushing in and finishing this as quickly as possible. We can leave a couple of spotters just in case there's still something there. I don't believe there is, but it's not really all that harmful for us to leave a unit or two behind either. They have no chance of stopping us. Disperse. Survivors disperse. Even any kind of delay basically fell apart for them the moment their HQ was taken out. When the tanks got destroyed too, without them being able to really fire a shot, that's that was game over at that point. Although I don't think it would have made a little difference. They were just there's too outdated to matter at this point. Right, there's still a couple of things here and there, but they're probably waiting for these tanks to sort of rush in there and have a decent fight on their hands. Or they're relying very heavily on the fact that they're dug in. I'm not actually sure, because you would have to realize at this point that the jig is up. You just need to try to delay the things as much as possible. You're not hiding anymore. Okay, we have enough infantry that I'm confident we can take these. Still had an anti-tank unit there. Okay, T-34s. It's in such a hopeless position. It doesn't really matter what direction they're pointing at either. If they would have faced this tank group, I just would have used the others to take them out. End result is the same. Still, since we're still spotting extra tanks there, I'm not moving these anywhere. I want some kind of reaction fire in case unexpected things pop up. Not really expecting all that much to pop up, but still. I'm not the only way they can threaten me even a little bit is if we force things to point blank range. But why on earth would I do that? I have all the advantages if we do this long distance struggle. They've got nothing. They're not gonna hit me, and their weapons are probably struggling to penetrate the armor. So might as well just let them die there. But we want this more infantry to move forward so we can spot the remaining tanks that are probably in there. I don't think there's any noticeable infantry presence. Disperse. Taking all the flags. Since this is a defend mission, this will probably end once we get the flags, like in a turn or two after that. So we don't have to wait for turn 15 to get things done. Yeah, I'll move with the infantry. I'll leave the jeeps here. I mean, if we did not have the extra group of tanks at the northern edge, this could have been a mission.
but they're a bit too much. They're totally outclassing everything the enemy has. Also, could we provide some fire support for these guys? And the entire reason the tanks were brought here was to do that. A little bit of pinning, a little bit of retreating, a little bit of routing. And they charged the enemy. Excellent. Bunker. Anti-tank infantry. Yeah, we can definitely end this on the next turn. Let's have a miracle. Mysterious miracle that just fails to materialize. Yeah, maybe you should just get rid of those. Hmm. Ah, right. This is likely the last turn. Terrible mission though. Absolutely god awful. And now the inevitable reaction fire on against a unit that can't actually really do anything. So yeah, this is definitely over. It's really been over for a while, but I'm being paranoid again about some kind of mystery capabilities that they don't actually have. I'm not really even seeing hostiles anymore. Has to be something somewhere we're seeing. And I don't really see it on the map either though. What is it? Enemy scene 1, but I don't see the enemy. What is it? No targets. Hmm. Not sure if there's any point in going through every hostile. But what the hell are you seeing? There is a hostile somewhere that someone is seeing. Actually, quite a few people are seeing it. Just not where it is. I don't see anything on the map either. So I'm thinking this mystery enemy's bullshit. I'll move a few infantry squads closer just to see if that there's nothing hiding here. But I think this is pretty much a wrap. Yeah. They've got nothing. They never had. Maybe if you would have driven your tanks into the minefield or something stupid like that, then you might have had a problem. But this was never really a fight. lost 69 men. They lost 9 tanks, 10 artillery pieces, and 300 men. Yeah, not much to say about this. I guess we got to experience the overwhelming superiority of the Israeli armed forces versus the Egyptians, but uh, it's not a interesting thing to play through if it's that lopsided. I suppose that's the technology difference with certain type of factions. I mean, if you put the United States modern army in this game against some kind of a shithole country, I'm not sure what would that be though. It would be something like have a few decades behind Soviet gear. There would be no fight because the other side couldn't possibly throw anything your way that could seriously threaten you. Soviets will also fall behind a little bit because their tech is different. Uh, Soviets would rely more on mass tactics and missiles, I think, but their electronics, especially in their tanks, are not up to par compared to modern Western tanks. Within the confines of the game, that's naturally changed in reality now. I think probably some of the more modern tanks will be Russian. Basically, because United States spends their funds elsewhere, Air Force and Navy. But still, it's even it being a fact of life. Maybe I don't know. I don't have enough information to say if that's anywhere accurate. But I'm saying it's not a interest. It does not make an interesting game. So I certainly don't want Storm of Abu Aghelia to be a representative of what we're gonna see in the future. Reality or not, it's just dull to play.